Hello and welcome to the Block Explorer. I'm Colin Brightfield.
Hey folks, I'm Cash Upton.
The Block Explorer is here to educate and inspire you about the world of crypto and NFTs.
We'll do deep dives into critical concepts for understanding what's happening and discuss current events shaping the space.
We're making this podcast for the curious, the free thinkers, and the change makers that propel us forward.
As we embark on our adventures, remember that none of this is financial advice and crypto can be risky.
In this episode, we discuss the first NFT art show in Santa Barbara that we put on as Reliquary DAO. We talk about POAPs, proof of attendance protocols, hybrid NFTs linked with some in real life experiences, as well as some big news that's happening in the NFT space.
Yes, sir. So excited. Thank you to all of our guests and fans who listened and came to our Soho event. We had a good, successful time onboarding a few dozen people into MetaMask, getting them some free NFTs from our local artist, Kaya Tyron, and just had a really fun night. And we're excited to do it again.
Yeah, it was pretty epic to see the interest and the enthusiasm from all the people that came to the show. Yeah, and we're grateful for them coming, and we are looking forward to doing more events like that in the future. In fact, I think we have our next event coming up already in January.
Yes, sir. January 22nd. And there'll be a pretty great cover band, Grateful Dead cover band at Soho later that night.
NFTs and the Grateful Dead. Would the Grateful Dead have gotten into NFTs? I think so. What would be their NFT? They would have, Grateful Dead bears would be their profile picture collection, right? You could have different bears. Instead of the Bored Ape Yacht Club, you'd have the Grateful Dead Dancing Bear Club.
The Trippy Care Bears.
Yeah. I think they would have a lot of fun with it if they, Dead and Company is still around. We'll see. Maybe we can still see some Grateful Dead inspired NFT projects in the future. I feel like that's just like that's a gold mine of fun stuff. Well, anyway, we were excited to also, one of the things that we gave away at the event was POAPs. And POAPs are this cool kind of digital bookmark for your life. And they're pretty popular in the crypto world in real life events, and you kind of collect them, and they're like little badges that you can hold in your wallet, or you can hold them in the POAP app. And it's just like a little kind of ticket stub kind of pin that celebrates like, oh, I was at this conference or I was at this event. And Cash, can you tell me a little more about like the one that we did?
Yeah, so we pretty much took our flyer and turned it into the POAP NFT. So it's cool because we're going to be able to see who came to our first event, give away perks and thank yous that show early supporters, not just for what we're doing at Soho and in real life reliquary events, but also across the NFT space. Did you participate in this first launch? Did you go to this event? And there's a lot of things that can really be extrapolated from that, and then rewards for people who participate and show support.
Yeah, I think that's a real cool thing that a lot of these posts that people are collecting. There's this retroactive kind of airdropping different tokens to different art. You can kind of create these communities around who has these tokens, right? So you can look back and say, okay, everyone who came to this event or everyone who was a member of this thing, and they're free to make and they're free to mint. So it's just a fun little thing that you can do with crypto that kind of gives you some nostalgia, some memories, but it's the digital version. Instead of holding ticket stubs, you can collect POAPs. And this is kind of where you have this trend we're seeing with this kind of redeemables trend in NFTs. And I know, Cash, you were excited about Blank Souls, which is an NFT project that is a hybrid of NFTs for sneakers that then you can redeem for an actual pair of sneakers. So tell us more about that.
Yeah, Blank Souls is a project I'm really excited about. Shout out to my buddy Devin. Full disclosure, I did purchase a few Blank Souls, but the whole concept behind this is that they're going to actually
got some Blank Soul bags.
Right. It's on the Solana network. And the idea is that you purchase this NFT that is a blank white sneaker, and they're going to send you a sneaker, but then they're also allowing you to put that NFT back into their DAO protocol, and it will spit out a artistic sneaker that's been designed by artists, musicians, NBA players, and then be able to show off those sneakers, have them in the metaverse, and do some pretty cool things with them.
So essentially, you're kind of like redeeming, right? The one NFT, you kind of burn essentially the white one, the vanilla one, and then you get this artistic design, cool looking one. But then do you also get the version of the cool looking one, or what pair of sneakers do you get in real life? I'm confused.
Pretty sure you get the designed ones, but that's
You get
something
the
that
designed ones.
it's still coming out on the drop. So I need to double check that, but pretty sure you get the really cool design ones.
Yeah, and I mean, I know that sneakerheads are really into, this kind of stuff. So I mean, it's not really like up my alley. I'm not a huge sneakerhead, but I can appreciate, it's a very passionate community of people that are into sneakers like that. And I can see like musicians and athletes and artists. This is kind of a cool way to combine a very passionate community with NFTs. And I think we're just going to see more of this trend happening where NFTs that you can redeem for physical items kind of happen, and maybe not even just physical items, but maybe actually digital items. So digital NFTs for wearing in the metaverse, just like Nike bought Artifact Studios to make shoes, but not shoes that you can wear in real life, shoes that your characters can wear in the metaverse.
Yeah.
So we have Nike aping in hard to the metaverse.
Yeah. And when I sent that article to my buddy Devin from Blank Souls, he said, great competition and validation. So it is pretty cool to see Nike being like, oh, yeah, wow, we need some sick metaverse sneakers too.
Yeah, but what Nike did is just, instead of just like trying to do it in-house, they just went shopping and they're like, let's just buy this company.
Yeah, just buy this whole studio.
Yeah, let's just buy this. An Artifact is a collectible NFT company, and they have done a few interesting things. They recently dropped a project where they were doing shoes for CryptoPunks and Bored Apes. And then they also did a collaboration with the artist Ferocious to sell real sneakers paired with virtual ones. And that netted over $3.1 million. And then they just did a drop with Clone X drop with the artist Takeshi Murakami. And that already has a $65 million revenue in 3 weeks. So they're kind of a pretty notorious NFT studio. They have investment backing by A16Z, which is a big venture capital firm that is huge in the space. So they've looks like Nike did the research, and they have the exact right team, it looks like, to do well in this metaverse play.
Yeah, and for our listeners who want to check it out more, that's Artifact spelled the hipster way without any vowels.
It's capital RTFKT. Yeah, you might. I remember some people were like, "Okay, how do you say this?" It's like Artifact. Okay, so yeah, and they did Nike. I don't think they disclosed how much they acquired them for, but what's pretty interesting is that Nike put on their website and on their social, they had the logo of Air Jordan, like the Nike swoosh, and then they had the logo for Artifact, which is like this lightning symbol. So they're making some power plays here in the metaverse with this acquisition.
Yeah, cool to see the validation. There's some new generative art on the scene. No, I was
every day there's some new generative art on the scene. Every minute.
Yeah, so this one, full disclosure, I bought one too. Our boy over from Art House. It's an art house project called Embryonic, and there's 4,242 generative art pieces. And they're entirely on chain. So that's one thing that really caught my eye, that Art House is doing, is putting them fully on chain. So they're immutable, totally, there for the good of Ethereum.
Yeah. So what that means is, when you have an NFT, you have the asset, right, which is like the media file, right? So for this case, it's the JPEG that was created using this generative art process, or it could be like an animated file or whatever. But that needs to be that's the asset, right? And then there's the NFT, which is essentially a token that points to that asset, like a title, and says, okay, who owns this, and it tracks the history of it and whatnot. And so the NFT is not really technically the JPEG, right, or the media file. It's the token that's linked to the media file that points to it and says who owns it. And it's wrapped in, like, essentially, like, you can imagine it being like wrapped in code. But then you have to think about, okay, well, where do we store the original asset, right? And if it's on a centralized server, then you're kind of defeating this whole decentralization aspect, right? And so different solutions have been created for storage, not just for NFTs, but just different storage solutions that are decentralized. And some projects have used these when they launch, some projects don't. It's important to when you're looking at NFTs is to actually, when you're considering the long-term viability of the project, is where are the assets stored? Are they stored on chain? Are they stored in a decentralized way? Are they stored in on AWS, or which is
Amazon Web Service?
Yeah, which is decentralized as well, but it's a centralized company, right? So I mean, even if it's stored on the cloud, is it owned by a company with a corporation with different interests, that may not be necessarily aligned with the values of Ethereum? So something to keep in mind, good food for thought. And as we move forwards, I think it's going to become more and more important for NFT projects to describe how they're storing the metadata for the token.
Yeah, it's important to remember not all NFTs are created equal or stored the same way. So remember to check that out.
Yeah, and if you're not sure, you can always you can join the Discord of an NFT project and ask. You can, or on you can, some NFT projects might advertise it on their website of how on the white paper or on the about page of how it's stored. But that's something to take a look at for sure.
Does OpenSea have an option for on-chain storage?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool. So we've been shifting gears a little bit. We've been seeing some political action through NFTs and through DAOs created for NFTs. So Colin, can you tell us about the Free Ross DAO?
Yeah, Free Ross DAO, super exciting. You may have heard of the Silk Road, which was created by Ross Ulbricht. And that was, I think, in 2013 when it got shut down. But I'm not exactly sure. Maybe it was started. I'm not exactly sure when it got shut down. But he was the one who initially started that. And that was where you could buy pretty much anything online, specifically mostly drugs. It started off with mostly marijuana and things like that, and then it started to get kind of crazy, and you had to use Bitcoin to purchase whatever you were purchasing. And so it was actually one of the first ways a lot of people got exposure to cryptocurrency and Bitcoin, and it kind of accelerated the adoption in some ways. So he's in prison. He went to prison. He got caught. And he was sentenced for 2 life sentences plus 40 years, which, he wasn't necessarily individually involved in any kind of violent crime. So some people are saying, legal experts and stuff had said that they think that the sentencing was extremely harsh, and some people with libertarian leanings, they see what Ross did, where he created a free market. And he wrote the code, essentially, right? He wasn't supplying stuff. He wasn't buying stuff. He just created the code, the website that let this happen. So he's pretty much in prison for the rest of his life, plus another life, which I don't know what that means, to have 2 life sentences and then 40 years. It's just kind of, so some people point to that this is an excessive, cruel, and unusual punishment for the crime, that it doesn't fit the crime. And that maybe the government was trying to make an example out of him by coming down so hard, and to set an example kind of for society because this is kind of the thing where, he created another market, right? That I don't know what was the max amount of volume that of dollars that was going through at one time, but it was significant amount of money was moving through there. And that's the kind of thing that big governments, powerful governments don't like, because it's a challenge to their authority. It's a challenge to their economic primacy in the space. So there's like a big groundswell of people who see Ross as kind of like this martyr who, and especially like Bitcoin people have always pointed to him as like there's this martyr who's, doing time that's maybe a little bit unjust for him to be there for that long. But he was, he was one of these people that pioneered Bitcoin and using applying crypto for a use case, whether it was legal or not, that's controversial. But he was out there doing stuff and pushing the boundaries of what's possible. So anyway,
and now he's pushing the boundaries while behind bars. And
yeah,
so he's created 10 NFTs, right? A series of about 10, I think.
Yeah, well, so he's in prison, and so his mom visits him and cuts out clippings and prints out stuff about like crypto and NFTs. So like he stays up to date on what's happening in the crypto world. And so he's abreast about what's going on with NFTs. So he decided to make a collection of NFTs and launch them from prison. And the proceeds are going to go to helping families that have family members incarcerated. And so it's a nonprofit that goes to support this foundation that he started.
Yeah, I think it's called Art for Giving.
Art for Giving. Yeah.
Help people visit their families in prison. Really, really cool mission.
Yeah, it's awesome. So essentially this DAO was created to buy the NFT that went on auction from Ross. And so a bunch of people joined and donated funds to create this DAO to raise a bunch of money. And then they ended up buying his NFT for $6.2 million. And this was last Thursday that I think it was finished, the auction finished. And so now people are discussing, they were going to maybe issue like a Ross token, but I don't know if that idea is going to go through now. And but their manifesto is pretty great. It says, number one is we will free Ross. Number two, we will advance prison reform. And number three, we will share Ross's work with the world and give everyone a unique opportunity to own a piece of it. So I think this is just a great example of how people can come together around a cause, form a DAO, raise money, and actually make real change happen. And this is coordination on a global scale that's not, happening from a centralized necessarily government or authority, but this is just people coming together and around a common goal and achieving it. So it's just another example of what, we're going to see more and more of this happen in the future. And it's exciting because it's a great way to create impact. And you don't need, you don't need like a permission, from a big, powerful government or anything to make that happen. Yeah. I think another thing to note here is that, the Bitcoin people kind of mad at Ross now because he made an NFT on Ethereum.
It's not on the Bitcoin blockchain because you can't really have NFTs on Bitcoin very easily.
Yeah, so I think it's kind of sickening to just see like the hardcore Bitcoin maxis just having a fit because he touched Ethereum by making an NFT, and he's supposed to be this big like martyr for Bitcoin people, but dare he use another blockchain and everything's going to melt if he chooses another blockchain. So I think it's just kind of hilarious to laugh at people that like that. But I think go Ross. I hope this project continues.
Yeah, no, really, really big support for him. I wish I could have bought in, didn't find out about it in time, but hopefully we can buy into some of the fractionalization of it once they put it out on the open market.
Yeah, I'm not sure, when that's going to happen, but we got to support it somehow.
Yeah, we'll keep our listeners up to date as we learn more. All right, from the politically heartening news to some mainstream capitalist NFTs, what do you got for us, Colin?
we have major brands jumping in hard into NFTs. They're all just aping in. So we had the Budweiser NFTs, which were like these old school can logos, and they were selling for already like zero point 0.5 ETH. I don't know. I wasn't that attracted to them, and I don't like Budweiser beer that much. So I was like, but it's just cool to see, and then we had Pepsi mic drop NFT, which like these microphones, and we had McDonald's launch a McRib project. So, these are more like brand collectibles. I wouldn't really say they're fine art in any way, and it's a different category. And people who are into certain certain brands will obviously collect these things. And I'm sure, the first ones of these brands, they might be worth something long term. And I think the longer term play, I'm not sure if all of these have that built in, but I think Budweiser's maybe saying like, you could use your Budweiser thing for a VIP ticketing type of thing. There's going to be probably some retroactive perks for being part of these initial drops. Yeah, what are your thoughts on the big
I don't know.
brands getting into
Well,
NFTs?
McDonald's making a McRib NFT. I just don't know. I mean, I don't know if the McRib should even exist. So, I mean, I think it validates
Not even a
the
virtual
space.
McRib, not even a not even a metaverse McRib. Would you allow your metaverse avatar to eat a McRib in the metaverse?
Probably in the metaverse, but that's about
Okay.
it. But yeah, I mean, it's showing validation, but it is kind of, I don't know, it feels a little sellouty. Like they're capitalizing on the time, So I think we're gonna see it happen. There's things that are always kind of not exploit it, but put out there to the masses in a way that's maybe a little bit less intentional than the NFTs that are from emerging artists and having more cool community vibes. But corporations want to get in on it too, so can't blame them.
Yeah, I just wish they didn't steal all our cool lingo. And now they're like tweeting out like GM, and we're gonna make it, and we're all gonna make it. WAGMI, and friends, FRENS. All the cool little ways that we talk to each other on Discord. Now they're just taking all of it. I think that's like, for me, it's like, oh man, they're in now. The brands are here.
Right, when the internet went from being punky to mainstream, we are
Doesn't take long. It's crazy. The ramp up with the NFTs has just been insane. And I think that's the story of this year, is just wow with NFTs. I don't think
Yeah.
anyone saw it coming that fast, like a cascade, where the dominoes just keep falling. They just kept falling and falling and falling, and they continue to do that now with crypto gaming, which some people say is the next big frontier for NFTs.
Right. Yeah, we saw the big entry to gaming earlier this year, and now we're seeing Ubisoft get into it, and make a big
Ubisoft is like
announcement.
the first big AAA game design firm to talk about adding NFTs into one of their games. And it's been pretty controversial, right? So they want to add NFTs into their Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Breakpoint using the Tezos blockchain, which is a environmentally friendly blockchain. It's proof of stake. But what happened when they released its cash?
They got a lot of backlash, and they took down the announcement. And kind of maybe are rethinking how they're going to launch it, because there was not as much support as they would have thought.
Yeah, so I think they put out a trailer on YouTube, and then it got like a 95% downvote, like thumbs down. And there's a lot of talk about, okay, Axie Infinity, right? That game did gangbusters. And then there's talk of, some other crypto games that are on the horizon: Illuvium, Star Atlas on Solana. And so I really do think, games are going to be huge, but you do see right now, there's this kind of discussion and debate and battle essentially over a lot of the future of a lot of games in these that it kind of exist in the AAA gaming world, because you have a lot of gamers that just don't like the idea of having NFTs in their games. They don't like their games to be financialized. They argue that it can take the fun out of it, right? Because now you have, you're exposed to big financial gains or losses on based on your gameplay. And so a world that could have been more of like an escapism thing now could be have more like stress attached to it. I know also there's the play to win kind of narrative where it's someone could, if the game design is not done correctly, you could just, someone with a lot of resources could just come in and buy all the most powerful items, right? So we talk about crypto gaming. For our listeners that aren't familiar, one of the big aspects of crypto games is that all the items in the game are NFTs, right? And there's a real economic value to that. So if you collect like the certain sword or the special potion or whatever it is, you could theoretically then sell that sword later. Or if you up level your character from like level 1 to like level 8 wizard or whatever, then you could sell that character, right? So there's a play to earn aspect in these crypto games, and that's what we saw with Axie Infinity, and it's done so well, especially in East Asia. Then you have all these other people on the other side who are like, no, I love play to earn. Like I'm making more money playing to earn in the Philippines than I would working my regular job.
Right. Yeah. People making a living playing Axie in the Philippines is totally validating. And then didn't Vitalik, the founder, creator of Ethereum, like have one of his main reasons of making a blockchain like this so that you can take items between games? So like not necessarily selling them for a lot of money, but hey, I love that sword. I want to bring it to this next game I'm going to play.
Yeah, I think actually what happened was he was playing, I don't remember which game, but he like had like a character that was super up leveled or whatever. And then like the game just like they just changed one of the rules of the game, or it was just kind of like, I don't know, there was something where like he lost like the powers of one of his characters. And it was just because of the fact that it was like this like centralized gaming company. And he was like, no, let's create, yeah, essentially NFTs. You're right. That was like kind of one of the reasons that he got interested in crypto in the technology. But
Speaking
so
of, yeah.
I think it's a complicated subject because you have the old way of gaming, right? And then you have this new realm of gaming. And I think what you're gonna have is just new gaming communities, new gaming companies are gonna take up this space. So if these AAA gaming companies are slow to innovate in this space, or if their communities kind of hold them hostage and don't really let them explore the space as much as they could, you're going to see other companies come in and just create a whole new parallel ecosystem of games that are crypto friendly, crypto native, NFT native. And then I think you're going to see eventually this tech more and more just seep into um, regular gaming, trad gaming, is what you might want to call it, traditional gaming. Because if you're I think in the future, if you're a game studio and you're not embracing the new tech, that you get left behind. And so I think I don't know, gamers are really picky though about their games. And like we saw, Discord tried to launch a feature that was a wallet feature where that you could display your NFTs on your Discord profile, and all the gamers flipped out about that. So I think it's important to take into account your community, but I also understand that new communities are being developed, right? And there's a play to earn crypto gaming community that is ready for the next wave. The thing is with games, it just takes years and years to develop some of these top notch games, and then they have to be fun to play, right? So this is going to develop for the next couple of years. I think that the first like really awesome games that are crypto native are still a little ways out, like 2 to 3 years out. But I think it's a really, really exciting spot right now because it's so fluid and open.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what comes out of it. And for all those parents out there that said you can't make a living playing video games, well, some people are, and they're having a lot
Some
of fun
people are
doing
making
it.
really a lot of money, right? Once you see the esports teams, right, and guilds you're starting to get involved, right? I mean, this is, yeah, you're gonna see people. This is the birth of, we had a little bit of it with like esports and stuff and some of these like other games, but I think it's really going to explode now because you're just going to have so many more people exposed to making money in games, because a lot of games are going to be play to earn. And maybe you're not going to be making enough to pay, pay your rent. It's not going to, but you'll still be making some money or some tokens or something. And that's going to be a new experience for people. And that's going to wake people up to this whole new paradigm of play to earn.
Yeah, I'm excited to see where it goes. Going back to the founding of Ethereum, we know that it wasn't just so Vitalik could take his gaming items across platforms. There's a lot about the decentralization, the open source, the access to resources. And there's a pretty cool movie coming out, and there's an NFT to support it. Movie's called The Infinite Machine. It's also a book by Camila Russo on the founding of Ethereum. And they're doing some pretty cool stuff with NFTs to support the movie.
We're all going to make a movie, Cash. We're all
We're
going
all
to make
gonna
a
make a
movie.
movie.
So the hashtag is WAGMAM. We're all going to make a movie. It's kind of a, a riff on the we're all going to make it meme. So this is kind of off the same idea of Stoner Cats, if you're familiar with that, where they use NFTs to essentially crowdfund the production of an animated cartoon show with Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis and some others. So this is a similar concept of crowdfunding using NFTs to crowdfund the creation of this movie, which describes the history of Ethereum. So the Infinite Machine talks about the founding of Ethereum, how it got started, and it's a best-selling book. It's sold out twice on Amazon. So if you're not familiar with Camila Russo, she started the Defiant, which is an amazing crypto, DeFi, NFT media company, and they have a great YouTube channel and podcast. So if you're not familiar with them, check them out, and then definitely check out the book if you haven't read it. We highly recommend reading the book, or you can listen to it on as an audio format as well.
Yeah, pretty cool. They're doing 10,499 NFTs, and that's in honor of EIP 1559. That was the block of Ethereum that it was initiated in. And what I really think is cool is that they're working with 36 emerging artists, and they say are from mainly countries where decentralization has a major impact on lives and finances. So that's places like Cuba, Argentina, Venezuela, Kenya, Bolivia, and Chile. So they're really trying to get these artists to, have a platform to, support what Ethereum mission is, which is decentralization and access to, financial resources that are normally not available to people.
Yeah. And what's really cool is if you have one of these NFTs, then some of them have special perks kind of attached to them. So there's different kind of categories of these 10,449 or 499 NFTs. Some of them will let you be an extra in the movie. That's really freaking cool. Some of them will let you give you access to the movie premiere or multiple premieres if they do multiple. Some of them will let you go to one of the sets where they're filming it live. So they think they're going to film it in the US, Switzerland, and Spain are the 3 confirmed locations so far, but there could be other ones. And then there's all of the NFTs that are created, they're interpretations on the logo of Ethereum. And if you're not seen that logo, it's kind of like a diamond looking shape. And they all kind of did a riff on it. And then, so there's original 101s from each of the artists that they've created. But then it's really cool. They kind of made this generative art twist where they took everyone's pieces of their art and they had a computer program kind of mash them all and then kind of combine them all and take pieces from each one and spit them out. And then they kind of create this combination of visions that are representations of the logo as well, but they're kind of like a co-creation of all the artists' works together. So there's some kind of one of one art, which will obviously be more rare, more expensive. And then there's the ones that are kind of these combination pieces, which would be most of them, but they're all kind of the Ethereum logo. But the perks will be attached to different layers of those. And it's a fantastic way to create a community around a movie, I think.
Yeah, and we have minting on Monday.
Yeah, so there's several mints. This is the OG mint one, and on Monday, and I think they're minting for 0.08 ETH. So join their Discord if you want to learn more about that. Check out their website, the Infinite Machine movie, and join their Twitter, and you can stay up to date with that. I think this is going to be a great movie. I'm hoping to get involved, and we're all going to make a movie.
Yeah, buy the book too, folks.
Speaking of making moves, OpenSea made a big move. They hired a chief financial officer that used to work, I think, at can't remember where, but they hired a very high profile CFO, and some people are saying, oh, because they're getting ready for a IPO, and people are in the crypto world are kind of like scratching their heads, being like, well, I thought OpenSea was going to do a token drop, a token airdrop for all the people who've participated in OpenSea's success. And it looks like they're leaning more towards the IPO route, but they are a more centralized company. So, I mean, it kind of just makes sense,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
yeah,
it
they were
was
kind of, go ahead.
Brian Roberts, who used to be the CFO of Lyft. So
Okay, yeah.
bringing in a big name, and they did walk it back though, because as you mentioned, crypto was pretty up in arms. And a few days ago, they made another announcement saying that they would, of course, include the OpenSea community if there was a discussion of it. So
Yeah, I think that's just a little bit of talk to assuage the masses. But I mean, they are a centralized company. They've always have been. I don't really see. I don't know. I would love to see a token, but I wouldn't be surprised if they say the IPO route, which is fine. Um, there's going to be another, version of OpenSea that comes along that will do a token drop, that will be more of a DAO, and yeah, it just leaves more. There's plenty of space in the market for everyone. And if anything, I mean, I think it would be kind of cool to have another, have a big company like an NFT company like OpenSea listed on a major stock exchange would be kind of cool. It'd be kind of a win, I guess, for the crypto community at large.
absolutely. OpenSea just in the last 30 days recorded $2 billion in trading volume, over 1.1 million transactions, and 250,000 users.
Yeah, so some major business going down at OpenSea.
And if you average the 2.5% revenue that the platform takes for every trade, they made about 50 million bucks in a month. Yeah, I'd buy some of that share.
Yeah, and they have room to run too, right? The NFT market is still so new, and that's what I keep reminding myself. We're still early. There's maybe a lot of froth that you hear sometimes going around, but we're still really, really early in this whole arc. NFTs are still just ramping up. I think we're in for a big 2022, and I am excited for what's coming up next year. We have ETH Denver that's coming up, and that's happening February 10th to the 17th, or maybe I think the 20th in Denver, and use some NFTs attached to that, the Bufficorns. So that's a cool use case for NFTs. That you're going to have use cases at the conference, as well as airdrops and things like that, VIP areas. And then we also have permissionless. Permissionless is happening in May 2022 in Palm Beach, Florida. So that's put on with the Bankless team and Blockworks and a big coalition of people. It's going to be a combination of DeFi and NFTs. And that's May 17th to May 19th. So 2022 ramping up for a big year in crypto conferences in real life.
Yeah, and you forgot one. There's the Zen Drifter crypto yoga surf retreat happening down in Costa Rica.
Oh yeah, forgot about that. Cash, what are you excited for?
Well, you mentioned most everything I'm already excited for too. And the one thing I would add is what we talked about in the beginning, our next in real life NFT art show at Soho on January 22nd.
Yeah, can't wait for that. We are going to have some amazing artists there. And we're talking about maybe even doing a live recording of the Block Explorer at that show, or maybe something similar to that. But stay tuned for more details. If you want more details on the DAO and what that is up to, it's reliquarydao.com, reliquaryDAO.com. And that's it for today. We're going to wrap it up. Thank you for listening, and we hope you enjoyed this episode.
Yes, thank you for exploring the world of blockchain with us.
Crypto is changing the world. We're here to make sure that you're ready.
Please subscribe, share this podcast with your friends and coworkers, and leave us a review, please.
We can't wait to share our next episode with you.
Salud.
Cheers.